Hi guys, this is Allison Pryor. I'm just here today to show you 8 acrylic painting mistakes that you're probably making because you're having a hard time getting to do your paintings correctly and you get frustrated. So the first one is probably your brushes. So you may be using the wrong brush for, say, a sky. Let's just pretend you're doing a sky. So you take your flat brush. You take a flat brush and it's a chiseled edge sable brush like that, and you take that and you dip it into your blue and you just put it on one side of your brush and you put it on and you end up getting streaks and you can't seem to get it to go together like that. So you're blaming yourself. You're like, oh, I can't paint. But you can paint. It's just that you just have to figure out what is going on. So then you can try to double load your brush. Okay, so double load your brush, put on both sides of your brush and fill it up really good, and then go back and forth, but you're still getting streaks and you're getting all these white streaks coming off your brush. It just doesn't seem to work, so you're getting frustrated again. It also could be your canvas, but we'll go into that later. So anyway, so then you say, well, what can I do now? So what you can do now is try another brush. Try a bristle brush. Maybe a bristle brush might help. And maybe the size of your brush, you can use a bigger brush. If you're using a big canvas, you can use a big brush like that one. That's a nice brush. That's a sable, and it's a flat, and it's 2 inches. Now this one's about a ½ inch or an inch, I would say, and then you take that brush and you fill it up with your paint, and then you try again, and there you go. You still are having a bit of a hard time. So what could happen there is probably you haven't got enough paint on your brush. So double load your brush and put on some more paint. And then you go back and forth in long strokes instead of short strokes like that. Or you can crisscross your strokes, it doesn't matter. But I find myself that the bristle brush gives a softer blended sky. So then you can try, any different brushes that you have around and keep trying. And you can also try, before you do anything like clouds or trees or anything like that, just take a piece of paper or a piece of cardboard or anything and practice on that first before you actually go on your painting. That way you won't get frustrated. So say you're trying to make a tree and you take out a bristle brush because that's what you have handy, so you grab it quick. So you take another bristle brush and you're trying to make a tree. See all the bristly edges on there? So then you mix your paints together. I'm not going to worry about colors or anything right now. I'm just going to help you with your brushes. So say you're making a tree and you try to make the tree and you can't seem to get that nice edges to your tree. You keep trying different ways and you can't seem to get it goes all over the place. So then you say, well, I can't get that tree the way I want it. So you might like it that way, I don't know, but I mean, if you're frustrated and you can't get it the way you want it, then try another brush. So go back and forth with your bristle brushes and your sable brushes and see what works best for different things that you're doing. So then you just pick up some paint, and this is your sable brush, and then you try your sable brush. So then you touch and you pull down and you get those nice soft edges that you're looking for. See? So the sable brush works better there. Now my hand just moved, that's why I got that edge. Now if that don't work, then try another brush, another bristle brush. But really, this brush here, you should get the nice edges. So, touch and pull. And then you can fill it in the center. But as long as you get those edges, but you'll get better edges with this sable brush here. So then maybe you're trying to get some clouds. And so you go back to your bristle brush again. Or maybe you decide to go with a fan brush. Maybe you're watching a video and they said, take out your fan brush and make some clouds. Okay, sounds easy. So I take out my fan brush, or you could take out your fan brush, and you dip into your blue and your bit of white or whatever colors you're going to use. And you take your fan brush and you start making clouds. And then you get all this really strange looking shapes. So you're like, that didn't work. So then what you could do is try the corner of your brush instead. And if you try to corner your brush, you'll get a softer cloud. There we go, see? So just using the corner of your brush, you'll get a much easier way to make a cloud. And if that frustrates you, you don't like that, then try different brushes again. So try maybe your sable brush, and you could touch the corner. If you touch it like this, you might get those sharp edges again, but if you try the corner of your brush, you should get nice softer edges, softer tops to your clouds. So the corner, I find the corner of the brush helps get better clouds. You could also be pushing too hard and mixing the paint too much and going over the same area over and over and over and over. You keep going over the same area, and then it just goes into one color. So then you could try all different types of brushes. You might want to try your your bristle brush. So then you try your bristle brush and you tap, 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 tap. There we go. And that seems to work pretty good. So I find bristle, if you notice, I find bristle brushes work really good for a lot of stuff, except for the trees and flowers. So then maybe you're trying to do some flowers. So if you're doing flowers and you're trying to use your bristle brushes, it might be difficult for you to get a nice flower, because these have rough edges, as you can see. So if you're trying to get some kind of a flower stem, it'll be hard to do that because of that, and then you'll be trying to get a leaf and come out like that. You don't want that, you know. If you're trying to get a flower like this, the edges don't come out very nice. So if you're thinking smooth edges, think about your sable flat brush, okay? And then say you put you can put colors on each end of the brush, and then you can make yourself some pretty flowers, you know. But this brush will work much better, and you can do a lot more with it. See? Do a lot more with it. So then you practice your brushes and see what you can do with them. And then number 2, it's possible that you're probably putting too much water on your brushes, or adding too much water to your paint, or a medium. So if you do that, I'm just going to take out a bristle brush for now. I'm just going to go back and forth with bristle and sables, okay? So so say I put too much water. I put my brush in my water, and then I tap it off, and it was a bit too, I didn't realize it, but it was too much water. So then I'm going to be working with that, and we don't want that. So too much water, too much medium can really make a mess. So think about that one when you're doing your paintings. So what's the best amount of paint to put on your brush? Just try it, you know, right straight, without any water or medium, and see how that works. And if it's too thick or too thin, take out the water or add a little bit of water or medium, but you have to go back and forth just to see how it works out for you. Also, when you're painting, if your water in your jar is really dirty, that can also, and you're trying to do some white flowers or something like that, the water can also go on your brush and make your white turn a grayish color. So make sure your water is really clean when you're changing from dark colors to light colors. Number 3, it's possible that when you're trying to paint, your colors might be off. So probably you're trying to make some grass, and you try to use, let's see, green color. Maybe it's too light. So then you have to figure out how, maybe you got to go to the color wheel and add the opposite complementary color to make it a nicer green. So, you know, maybe your colors are too just too green or too red or too, so, you know, check out your colors and try to get that the way you want it. Another thing is number 4 is your composition. So you're probably doing I don't know, maybe a little house or whatever you're doing, and you put it right dab stack in the middle of your painting. So that doesn't show too much interest, you know, if you're doing like a landscape or a seascape. With an animal painting, well, yes, a portrait or something, you can go right in the middle. It shouldn't do any harm. But if you're doing a landscape or a seascape and you want the composition to be nice, just draw a square with pencil or on your canvas or on a piece of paper, and 2 lines in the center and 2 lines across. And these spots here, these little spots here on those 2 lines that meet, that's one of the places that you would put your focal point. So you'd put your little cabin up here on this area, and you know, maybe a tree down here on this side, and you know, flowers down here. So you'd leave the center open and probably put a path, and the path would also probably turn to the side rather than come right straight down the middle. So composition would be a little easier if you drew that square and used the rule of thirds. That might help. So also number 5, maybe you're mixing the paints too much. Maybe if you're trying to do, say, let's say you're trying to do, I don't know, maybe a sky or some water. Say we're trying to do some water. So you want to do some water and you want to make some waves and some highlights and things. So you put on your white to get some nice little highlights, but then you keep mixing, and then it just goes to one color. So to avoid that, so you don't get too frustrated, just put on your colors, and when you put on your top color, just leave it floating on top there, so like that. So it takes a bit of practice so that you don't, very light pressure, okay? So then, and if you use that brush for water, you won't get as nice as you would a fan brush. So that's too much mixing. If you're mixing sky, water, different colors, try to keep your colors a little separated. So then maybe number 6, the paint could be the problem. Maybe your paints, you're using maybe bottle paints and they're not working for you, bottle paints. Or maybe the tube paints, okay? So what I do is I put, see, there's the bottle paints here, and there's the tube paints, and see how thick the tube paints are. Really nice, and they got nicer colors. So try both. Don't mix 2 of them together, but try both and see what works best for you, because you know, you might need to figure out how much paint you would need to use on your brushes. So try the tube paints and try try different types of paints and brands. If you got any around your house, you don't have to go out and run out and spend a fortune on paints, but what you have. But that's the comparison of the bottles and the tubes. So then number 7 is probably too much pushing or pressing, and probably not enough pushing and pressing, depending on what you're trying to do. So let's just pretend we're trying to do some grass. So you take out a brush, and don't forget now, make sure you use the right brushes, or no such thing as right brush. The brush that you are comfortable with helps, right? So say you're trying to do some grass. So we'll do the grass with the well, let's do grass with the tube paints. So this is the tube paint grass, and I'm just tapping lightly, and now I'm going to try tap too hard. You get that's technique. That's too hard, you may not like that. And if you do it too light, you might just get these little lines like that. So depending on the pressure, okay? Depends on the pressure that you push and what effect you're trying to get. So if you're not pushing hard enough, you'll probably get this. If you push too hard, you'll get it all flattened out. And if you push just right, like the 3 bears, then you will have it just right. So tap, 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 tap. And give you a really, you know, tapping is a good way to do things. You can also, when you're making your clouds, you can tap, 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 tap your clouds, or you can make these little circles. It's different ways, and then use different brushes. So there's lots of different ways. All you got to do is practice. So number 8 could be the fact that you're using darks against darks, and you need to make darks against lights. So say you're trying to make a tree, and your background is, you got a dark sky, and you're trying to make a tree against dark sky. So you're not going to be able to see it very good. See? You can't see that very good. But if you make that tree up against a lighter sky, see how nice you can see it there? So that's all. It's just a matter of, you know, your contrasts, and you can also try to make some shadows. Shadows are nice. Always look for shadows. Put shadows in. Like I said, there's so much to painting. There's so many things you can do, and it's so much fun when you feel good about it. So practice. Get a piece of paper separately and practice on that and have some fun. And I just want to say hi to Megan and Medina and Rick and Deb and B, because you guys and all you guys out there give me wonderful, wonderful compliments, and you're encouraging me to do these videos. So I'm hoping this will help you. It's just a short little video on a few little things I thought about, and I thought I would pass them on. If you have any questions, just ask me in my email. My email is there. And that's about it for today. So go practice, 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 and happy painting from Allison Pryor.